This video is the second part of our humidifier installation on a hot air furnace. So here, coming out of our return, we cut in a 6-inch starting collar right here and piped it over. And piped this right into our scuttle humidifier. This unit also comes with a humidistat, and in this application I installed it on the return duct because that's where the customer wanted it. And basically this has a wire that connects to the solenoid. Here's a solenoid, and that humidistat acts as a switch, and it either turns on or kills the power to the solenoid. The solenoids are failed to close, which means that in a power interrupt, they automatically close, so they fail to close. Here's our water line, which I ran a 3/8 line and dropped it over to the 1/4 inch and just cut this valve in. This R14, which is a straight 1/2 inch copper by 3/8 compression valve. And notice, because this cold water line also feeds a water heater, I cut it in above that valve, because if you have to change the water feeder, you should not have to interrupt the service to the humidifier. And that's common plumbing practice. So basically what happens is, on a call for more humidity, this solenoid opens, because it gets the 24 volts from the humidistat. Let me just back up a second. That the original 24 volts comes from a transformer which is wired in parallel to the blower. That's the HVAC blower, not the oil burner blower. So the HVAC blower, when that comes on, it simultaneously livens up the transformer, and then whether or not the humidistat is calling would determine whether or not the solenoid is energized. So assuming the solenoid becomes energized, it opens up the water line and allows water to go to the top of this honeycomb structure, and then it trickles down all over these honeycombs. And when it does that, you have simultaneously air flowing across it. So that water gets absorbed into the air streaming across it and gets dispersed into the heating area. And that's how those work. And this is a nice humidifier. It's of better quality than some of the other ones that they have, such as a carousel type. So if I had if I had a hot air furnace in my home, this is the type I would use. This is a really nice setup. This also has a drain, so if this ever overflows, it can just drain into a drain. I just stuck it into the existing ejector pump, condensate pump that receives the cooling. So I didn't install this furnace, but I'm just adding the humidifier to it. So we're dealing with existing conditions here. So I just added this little piece of, it's actually pipe insulation, just to get the copper off of the sheet metal so it won't rattle, and to stop any electrolysis, because you never want copper touching steel. So that'll take care of that. It's just a little trick, just to stop the rattling and the electrolysis. These scuttle units, because this is a humidifier, it's adding humidity. In the winter, you want this has an integral tamper. So in the winter, you'd want this open. And in the summertime, because you want to remove humidity, you want it closed. And here's another thing you probably should know is that when I wired the solenoid into the blower motor, it was only on the heating side, because I do not want the solenoid to be energized when the air conditioning comes on. So for the cooling, it used a different wire and was not on the heating wire. So this, again, the solenoid was tied into the heating only line to the blower, not the cooling side, as they're two different speeds.